The GLB is a new entry into the Mercedes lineup. It debuted in 2019 and is classified as a compact luxury crossover. It fits in between the GLA, which is a subcompact crossover, and the GLC, which is also a compact crossover. The big difference here is that the GLB is on the B-class platform. It's a little bit longer, so it can accommodate 3 rows, making this a 7-passenger family-focused crossover. But if you're like me and a lot of that sounds like just mush, we're going to dive into the different crossover and SUV models that Mercedes sells, as well as talk about the different trim levels this is offered in, and then we'll get into the review of this specific vehicle. Let's go. All right, and as far as models go, Mercedes sells the GLA, which is their smallest crossover. Then the GLB is next up, then the GLC, which we have reviewed before. Then the GLE, again, we've reviewed that one before. And finally, the GLS, which is sort of their top of the line. But then, of course, also above that, you have the G-Class, which is commonly referred to as the G-Wagon, one of my favorite SUVs on the market. The GLB comes in a few different trim levels. You have the GLB 250 and the GLB 250 4Matic. That's what we're driving here. You also have the AMG GLB 35, which is the first time they've made an AMG 35, but that's not what we have, so we're going to be focusing on this one here. Let's take a look at the exterior and see what we think about the design. All right, guys, first off, this is the night black color. Looks really good in this thing. It is a deep black, but also shiny. We do have the Mercedes new LED headlamps that look really good in this thing. We also have the AMG diamond block grille on this, even though it's not the AMG trim. You can also see in the lower fascia, we do have cutouts for bigger air intakes down there, but they are covered up. You've got the dual power dome hood on this, just like in a lot of the other Mercedes. And all in all, it's a pretty aggressive front end. Moving along to the side, you see you have those power folding side mirrors with integrated LED turn signals. We also have the 20-inch AMG multi-spoke wheels. They look really good on this black vehicle. Overall, the profile is more boxy than it is rounded, although it is rounded in areas. It's a decent look, definitely a crossover look. I'll give you my full opinion on that in just a minute. But first, let's take a look at the rear. And in the rear end, you can see the LED taillights. We've got the 4Matic badge, the GLB 250 badge. We also got this chrome lower fascia. This surrounds a large dual exhaust ports and a bit of a lower wing there. And all in all, I don't think it's a bad looking vehicle. I really think it's more of a mix between the GLS and maybe a Subaru Forester. Again, not a bad look, but it is what it is. Let's open this hatch and check out the cargo volume and the very back of this vehicle. So this is not the 3-row option, this is only the 2-row option. Behind that second row, you're looking at 22 cubic feet of cargo space, which is pretty good. If you fold that second row down, it's got a total of 62 cubic feet of cargo volume. Very respectable. You don't get a lot of goodies back here with plugs or anything. You do get a shelf that lifts up. You've got a couple of things back here, but not a spare tire. And of course, we've got a pull-back shade to block people from seeing what you have back here. Well, that's enough at the back of the vehicle. Let's go around the front, pop the hood, and check out the engine under the hood. All right, and your only engine option, unless you get the AMG, is this 2-liter 4-cylinder twin scroll turbo engine, 221 horsepower, 258 foot-pounds of torque, and that's matched up to an 8-speed dual clutch transmission. Is it a good enough engine to push this Mercedes crossover? We're gonna go through that in just a second. First, let's jump in, take a look at the interior and tech, then we'll take it for a drive. So let's start out in the rear seats and check those out. All right, guys, we're here in the rear seats of the GLB, and as far as room goes, I've got plenty of knee room, plenty of room for the feet, plenty of headroom sitting up completely. I'm 6'1" and kind of a bigger guy, but definitely fit in here just fine. The seats are nice. They are a 40-20-40 split that can be folded down individually. They can be adjusted back and forth, and of course tumbled forward or laid back a bit extra. We do have our own AC vents back here. A little cubby hole down here that you probably can't see. There's this little pull out that has a nice plug there for you. 115 volt and 2 USB type C ports. Really cool there. We also have a pull down armrest with cup holders. No extra storage in here though. And throughout the week, I have had this packed with the family, kids 3 wide in the back. And overall, they haven't complained. It's been a nice vehicle for the family. I do wish that I would have got the 3-row to at least check it out. I have a feeling that the 3rd row seating would be a lot tighter. And of course, once you get that 3rd row up, you don't get as much room in the cargo area. But it would have been nice to check out, seeing as that I could actually fill it up with people. But with that, let's keep moving. Let's go jump into the front seats here. Let's check out the rest of the interior and the tech in this thing, and then we'll take it for a drive. All right, and as you might imagine, this is a really nice interior. It is still a Mercedes. We do have the Neva Gray with black interior. We have the carbon fiber and aluminum trimming, all really nice looking. We get ambient lighting in here, 64 color ambient lighting. That again is really nice, but let me pick you up from there and I'll show you around the interior. All right, first off, you can see some of that carbon fiber trimming here. This is actually gloss black, but reflects that carbon fiber into it. It's actually a really cool effect. I don't know if that's what they were going for with this whole thing, but it is kind of cool. This is the aluminum trimming here. You've got it on the door as well, carbon fiber and the aluminum trim. The black and gray seats are not leather. It is a Mercedes synthetic leather, although they are just fine. These circular vents that you get up here are pretty cool. You twist them to unlock them and twist them to close them. A cool little design, and of course you can point them wherever. They do have LED lighting in here, which illuminates each of them. They actually will change color as you change the temperature, which is a cool little feature. You can see we do have a push button start, and it is auto start stop, so you can turn that off there. Moving down a bit, you can see all the AC and heat controls here. There are redundant controls up in the screen, which we'll talk about in just a second. There's a little cubby back here. No wireless phone charging, but we do get a USB type C port and an accessory port here. These cup holders fold away and pop out individually, which is kind of nice depending on the size of drink you've got in there. Definitely makes a big difference for here in Texas. If you get some Texas sized drinks, you can just fold that away and put them in there. This is your dynamic switch, which will change your drive modes. We'll talk more about that again here in just a second when we take it for a drive. This is a quick access button for your vehicle settings. Favorites button, telephone button, radio button, navigation button, volume control. This pad will obviously let you control the screen there. This is just a nice little armrest so you can easily control everything. Coming back further is your center console, which is a pretty good size. You probably can't see too deep into there. You do get another USB type C port back here, but it's nicely cushioned and a good size there. Moving up to these screens, these are dual 7-inch displays, much like in all of the Mercedes that we've driven recently. These are just smaller displays. You can get the 10.25-inch screens, which is what we've seen in some of the other Mercedes we've driven recently, but these are the smaller ones. and they don't look bad. It actually makes the driver information system easier to see with the steering wheel not being in the way. The infotainment system, the MBUX, is all really nice, much like we've seen in other vehicles. And of course you get Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. All in all, I like the dual screen setup. I know some people don't like it. I do like it. But like I said, if you saw my Cadillac review with the Cadillac Escalade, obviously a bigger, more expensive vehicle, it's kind of got the same idea, but it's got 3 different screens with another small screen over on the far side. Just a nice little extra touch, but kind of the same thought process here. As far as the wheel goes, it's nice and chunky. You've got all the button controls. This has the aluminum trimming on it. You also get these touch sensitive pads here that will allow you to interface with either the driver information display or the infotainment display itself. It's just fine as a feature, but they actually have updated this in the newer designs. You should check out my E63 video if you want to see some of the newer tech. And speaking of that driver information display, it can be switched through a lot of different settings here, and you can check out all your trip settings. And of course you can completely change the way it's displayed. We've got the sport look, you've got a classic look, you've got a progressive look, which looks really cool, understated, and the standard display. You can also go full screen, and like here have the map completely displayed in the full screen there, which is really cool. But I think we've had a good enough look around. If you've got more questions about more of the interior, leave them down in the comments below. I'll try to answer them. If I can't, I'm sure somebody here on YouTube will be able to answer those. I'm ready to take this thing for a drive, so let's go. All right, guys, before we go any further, let me quickly interject here with a bit of self-promotion. If you're not already, go check out TXGARAGE.com. We've got a lot of great written articles there, written reviews, written news coverage, written event coverage, and some other just kind of off-the-wall stuff with travel stories. A lot of great authors over there that if you just watch the YouTube channel, you'll never know about. We've also got some merch that we're starting to sell, some cool Texas Garage designs, but we're also putting out some other just generic designs that aren't necessarily Texas Garage that if you guys are automotive fans, you might like. So again, go to txgarage.com. You'll be able to link to everything from there. Check out the links in the description. We'll have a lot of different links down there. But back to the review. All right, guys, so let's take it for a drive. Again, we have that turbocharged 2-cylinder engine, 221 horsepower. Not a ton, but it's plenty to get this thing up and going. It is a bit of a louder engine than I expected from Mercedes. You can definitely hear it idling a lot. There's even a couple of times where I questioned if this thing was a diesel. It's not, it's gas. It takes premium only, which in these times is a bit expensive when I had to fill it up. But luckily it's pretty fuel efficient. The EPA rates it at 23 miles per gallon city, 30 miles per gallon highway. During the full week that we've had it, I've been averaging 23.3 miles per gallon, so just over that city number. Now that we do a lot more city driving than we do highway driving, especially right now. And of course, we're going to leave it idling a little bit more as we're taking pictures and videos sometimes, and we're pushing it a little bit harder. So getting over the 23 miles to the gallon, I don't have any doubt that you can do that. And that is the figure for this one, the 4Matic. You get a little bit better numbers if you're getting just the front wheel drive version, but the 4Matic system is really great from Mercedes. The 4Matic all-wheel drive can vary the front and rear torque split to optimize stability, handling, and efficiency based on available grip at each wheel. Its engineering includes a loose surface mode, downhill speed regulation, an off-road graphic display, and more. Now, we didn't get to do a ton with the 4Matic system. We didn't take this thing off-road, but almost the entire week that we had this vehicle, it was raining, and raining really hard. and we had no issues with slippage in the rain. If you know anything about driving in Texas when it's almost flooding, it can be really slippery out there, and this handled just fine. And as far as day-to-day driving goes, it's a comfortable vehicle to be in. It's comfortable to drive, nice suspension. It's low road noise, low wind noise, but not as low as you might expect from a Mercedes. You do get some decent safety features in this thing, including some driving assist features. You get a nice backup camera, but not the full 360 camera. The way everything's laid out is really easy for the driver to control. The kids liked the LED lighting in here for sure. I'm kind of a just set it and forget it kind of guy. But yeah, nothing seems too special with this thing. You are spending 50 grand on a Mercedes, but it doesn't feel really that special. But there's a lot of nice little features that make it worth it. And definitely the quality of everything is really good. Acceleration up onto a highway is done with no problem. You can get from 30 to 60 or 30 to 70 with relative ease. And again, the boxy design, there's a little bit more wind noise than I would like from a Mercedes especially, but it's not terrible. Of course, it's extra windy right now. And with the power under the hood, Mercedes rates this at 0 to 60 at 6.9 seconds. I think we should at least attempt a quick 0 to 60 run. So let me find a straight road we can kind of pull over on, and we'll test that out. All right, so we have a bit of a straight road here that's pretty empty, so let's do an acceleration test. So we do have sport mode engaged. Dead stop. 1, 2, 3, go. Hammer down. 40, 50, 60. All right, not too shabby. I'll have to figure out the time in the edit, but not too shabby. So of course we do have different drive modes here. We have an eco mode, a comfort mode, a sport mode, and individual mode. Most of the week I left it in the comfort mode. The eco mode is just fine as well. And the sport mode definitely holds on to those revs a lot longer. Well, enough of that fun. Let's find a spot to pull back over, and we'll talk about some of the price and competition here. And then we'll wrap it up with some final thoughts. And before I give my final thoughts, let's talk about the price of this vehicle and some of its competition out there. Base price for the base GLB is just at $38,000, which is a great entry price into Mercedes. This one, the way it's spec'd out with the 4Matic and everything, is $49,755. So just under 50 grand for everything you see here, which again, for getting in a Mercedes is pretty good. Some of the competition out there includes the BMW X3, the Audi Q5. You could also probably look at the Infiniti QX60 or QX50, or even the new QX55. It just depends if you're looking for the 3-row or 2-row. I'm sure there's more out there, but definitely this is kind of a unique class, being this small, but also offering the 3-row with this amount of luxury. So with that, let's jump back out and I'll give you my final thoughts on this one and if it's something that I would buy. All right, guys, and on to some of my final thoughts here on the GLB. First off, with its claims to be a family-focused crossover SUV, I definitely get that. It definitely feels very good for the family. I would like to have that 3rd-row version. I assume it's not going to have a ton of room in that 3rd row, and once that 3rd row's up, you would lose a lot of room in the rear. So at the beginning of the week, I was really confused on where this fit in with Mercedes lineup and what they were focusing on. And while it is a cheaper entry level into Mercedes, it is cheaper for families to get into. Some of the competition out there for this is really good and just as cheap, if not cheaper, with giving you probably a little bit more tech and engine options. Overall, I would definitely recommend it if you're looking at it, but I wouldn't take the Mercedes badge as a gold standard and just jump into it to get into a Mercedes. I would definitely look at some of the competition out there and give those a shot before you decide on this one. But with that, I hope you did enjoy the video. If you did, please hit the thumbs up button, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about the GLB. And as always, guys, thanks for watching.